green flag in the air. Nick Mace leads into the green flag next to Nico Hall. And we are underway here at Sebring. Yeah, Florida. Bunch of weird stuff happens in Florida, right? In the turn 1, Nick Mace clears Nico Hall. Nico Hall got a very good, surprising second place qualifying position as they head into the first couple turns here. Nick Mace, he had a great run here last year. He was in the top 5 all day, all night long. Didn't win it, but he did put up a solid effort as he is the leader at the moment here, holding off a couple of others. He got a really good jump on that start as he's pulling away. This is the battle for second between Fibrosis and Hall. Fibrosis moving up through the standings very slowly. He is currently sitting 7th place in the points. Nico Hall not doing nearly as good as he is in the points, but Hall around the outside. This is Hall's preferred track, to be honest. He prefers these road courses. He's much more stronger on them. As he clears into that big section there. That was a good pass by Fibrosis. Dylan Young he did not put a very good qualifying effort. He qualified in 28th place. So now he has to work through this field if he wants any shot of keeping the big distance that he put on with his points lead. Especially with Tross and DeMax and others breathing down his neck. He can't really let anybody catch up to him, especially this late, especially when we're at we only have a quarter of the season left. Fly by of all the cars here. It's a very hard to see track. There's Eric Byrne. He's battling with Pollard for 8th place. Pollard's been looking for some better, more consistent finishes to try and move his way through the points a little bit more. He's currently sitting 8th in the points, and even when he wins so much this season, he hasn't been too consistent at the same time. Eric Byrne himself, our Road Atlanta winner, currently sitting 24th in the points, is trying to make a beeline towards the top half of the points. Last year's winner here, Chris Washer, currently sitting in 10th place, fighting with Jason Tross for 9th. Chris Washer, his season's been horrible, as we've stated before, but he is working as hard as he can to get a good finish here. He definitely should be confident because he's pretty good at this track, as shown by last year. Another driver who won here last year, you can see in the 41 car back there, William Duncan. He won here back in season 3. So right now those guys are trying to take that past experience and put it to use. On board with Troy Fibrosis in the 9, he has run down the 77, Nick Mace here, as he's trying to get to the bumper. Got a little bit too tight in that turn. He lost some grip as he is finding his way towards that number 77 Dodge. Mace has not won yet this year, and neither has Fibrosis. And he is definitely putting up quite the fight here. You can see his mirror. You can barely see Nico Hall. And you can see there's not too much lighting around this track. You can see, but it's still kind of hard to see at the same time. There's not very much lighting. And our cars don't have any light. We don't have headlights, so this is quite a challenge for some drivers with bad visibility. Really, really close battle. We got like 7 cars fighting here for 5th place. It's pretty interesting to watch between those guys. This track has had a lot of pretty close racing. You see Byrne all over the back of that 97. Burton, a veteran road course racer, definitely trying to move that 97 out of the way. Gotta get that Road Atlanta experience on this track. I mean, this track doesn't even have banking. It doesn't really have much hills. It's a pretty flat track. Requires a lot of skill, especially on a track that people say is even harder than the actual 24 hours of Le Mans. These top 5 cars, they're having a really great battle. Nick Mace has not really been able to pull away. And look at that, Hall, Lamas, Sanford, Fibrosis, all charging down that 77. Now, a lot of these guys needed this kind of a run too. Sanford and Lamas, they're both struggling right now in the points. Well, not really Lamas, but Lamas has just not been doing very good these last couple of weeks. So he really needs a good run. Same for Nico Hall. So it definitely is interesting seeing people wow, I cannot speak. On seeing Dylan Young, Daniel Day, DeMax and others not up here as well. DeMax currently sitting in 39th position right now. We're not too sure what's going on with that 92 car. They are one of the 4 cars who crashed in qualifying, surprisingly. And Max is not a very big fan of this track, as he's pretty much stated in interviews saying he absolutely hates this track. I mean, this track's one of the hardest courses in the entire world. It's very rough, it's very tough to memorize, and it's just absolutely ballistic here. You can see Richard Johnson, Anthony, Alex Allen having a good battle. Michael Block looks like he's 5 seconds returning Nick Smith. Next week we are going to the All-Star race for the DuPont Cup Series. Nico Hall stated in an interview earlier today that he feels like today in the All-Star race is going to be what determines how he's going to do for the rest of the season. And Nico Hall, he qualified for the All-Star race because he won last season at Riverside, which put him into the race. We're not too sure what special paint scheme he's driving. A bunch of drivers are going to be driving some special paint schemes, which will be quite interesting to see. But Nico Hall has not been a very good sophomore year for him. It wasn't even that very good of a freshman year for him, outside of winning Riverside last year on a fuel gamble. But things are going well so far for him in this race, currently sitting in 3rd. So good job by the Polish driver. Seth Cole and others leading themselves down for the first round of pit stops here tonight at Sebring. He's taking Daniel Day. We are hearing Alex Allen is coming in as well. And so is DJ Curtis. So pit stops have begun here at Sebring. Noah Hartwood retired from the race after a struggling night. Well, okay, sorry, bad wording. After not too impressive of a night, so Noah Hart is retiring from the car. Apparently something happened in the engine, and Nick Mace had a really good pit stop and put a larger gap between him and Fibrosis. Fibrosis was just breathing down his neck for this entire first half of the race. We are going to have to pit at least one more time. And Mace barely held the Fibrosis in time. Mace's pit crew got it done. So now, Fibrosis got an even bigger gap to climb. So we'll see how this plays out. This is the battle for second. Fibrosis, Sanford, and Eric Byrne going at it 1v1 as they are trying to run down Nick Mason themselves. And they actually kind of look like they are starting to make some sort of a gap closed. Charles Sanford went at Rockingham earlier this year, a couple races ago. It's a pretty good finish for him. He really needed that one. And it put him into this year's All-Star race right in the nick of time, I'd say. Fibrosis has been winless, as we stated before. Eric Burns got his win. So the top 2 are winless this year. The 2 behind them are already winners. And you can see, well, you might have been able to see Matthew Fuller in the 97 back there and holding himself in 5th. He hasn't won a race since a long time. I don't even think he's won a race in Season 2. It's been a rough ride for Alan Cavanero in the A3 these last couple of weeks. He just got suspended by ARCSOA for a drug violation about a couple of days ago. And even though DuPont Cup Series did clear him to race tonight, definitely did not look good on his record right now. DuPont officials did let the A3 just go on and race. So tough break for Cavanero in the Elite Series. He only completed like 3 races before he got suspended. Here's the battle for 21st between the 2 Mopar Dodge factory cars, Vincent Allen and Allie Nelson. It has not been the best season so far for these guys. They are doing pretty well for what they've got. I mean, they've got like the worst Dodge engines in the entire field. They've got worse engines than Team Thunder, and that's pretty sad. No offense to Team Thunder. But Mopar Dodge Factory 21st and 22nd, they're doing a pretty bang-up job. Hopefully they don't wreck each other, because that wouldn't go very well. Fibrosis once again getting on the number 77 of Nick Mace. He got away from Eric Byrne and Matthew Fuller. I'm not too sure where the heck Sanford went. He must have gone home. But Fibrosis has run down the 77 again. Nick Mace definitely does not have the best car, but Fibrosis is definitely struggling to get by this 77 at the same time. Mace is oh my god, he's not driving very clean so far. He definitely is not going to let that 9 go by without some sort of a fight. Nick Mace and Fibrosis pit stops here. So we'll see who comes out ahead of the other. We're going to follow this pit stop because screw it. We got time to waste. They both got in at the same time. We'll see who gets their pit stop done first. Fibrosis, we'll see who starts with their 2 tires first. They're both deadly even on the left side tires here. What about the right side? Nick Mace got it. He got his done a lot quicker than the 9 did by about half a second. And Nick Mace, and look at the gap he pulled on the 9 after that one. Good pit stop by Nick Mace. They are definitely outdoing this 9 team on every pit
Meanwhile,
stop so Charles Sanford, who actually took a gamble and is actually going right past the 77 of Nick Mace. Charles Sanford, we're hearing he took no tires. He only took fuel. A gamble by the 24 team. No tires, just fuel. I don't know how they're going to make the rest of the way without a new set of tires, but they're going to go for it. It's put a gap, but Mace is a really good gap closer. He's a veteran. Going to be hard for Sanford to hold him off, especially for over 32 miles to
Allie
go.
Nelson only took 2 tires on her pit stop compared to the others who took 4,
which moved her all the way up into the top 15. So Allie Nelson taking a pretty good gamble, and she's trying to push towards Sean Galligan. Nelson still got quite a gap to make up in the Rookie of the Year standing against Matt Duncan. Matt Duncan's all the way back in the bottom 30s. So Nelson getting some very much needed
drive-through
penalty issued to the number 48. He sped too fast on pit road. ARCSOA is calling him into the pits. As required, you have to take a 4-tire pit stop here. So that is quite a big slam in the face to Cody Lamas. More bad luck, back-to-back weeks. Only back-to-back. He sits 9th in the standings. Not sure if he'll still be there at the end of this one. Sean Galligan blows up in the 44. That Harpa Motorsports Mitsubishi is smoking. Harpa Motorsports heading to BMW next year, and their Mitsubishi has broken, and Galligan's gonna have no choice but to stop the car. And that is a heartbreak for Galligan. Galligan was running in 10th place at the time. Sanford pits. Sanford has decided to pit. They realize that they cannot take this no tire gamble, so they are putting the 24 car back in the pits, and Nick Mace will head back to the lead because of it. Not sure what kind of a foolish gamble that was. You can see the parked towed car of Sean Galligan right there. They're trying to get that car back out on the track. James Shelley and Jay Baskinger have come into the pits. Both teams have realized they did not put enough fuel in the car to make it to the flag. Baskinger comes in. Quick pits, puts some fuel in. Shelley gets some fuel in himself. He gets out of there. Both of them did not have enough fuel to make it to the end. Coming to the white flag. Fibros is trying to get to the 77 of Nick Mace. Battle for the lead. Eric Byrne back there in 3rd. White flag in the air. Final lap for Nick Mace in the 77. Fibros is trying to get that 77 car himself. Both drivers winless this year. Nick Mace last to win Ireland last year. Fibros is his last to win Road Atlanta last year. Really good battle. Fibros has been chasing this 77 car all night long. He is trying to finally get by him. Every time he loses ground, he makes it up. Can he do so again? Here's a big turn here. He could possibly close the gap. He closes it more. The 9 car is faster, but that 77 is holding him off a good bit. Eric Byrne trying to somehow do something to get up to the front. Will get up to the lead, but I don't think he'll have any time left. He needs at least 5 laps to get by Nick Mace. Few more turns to go. Mace is out-cornering the 9. His last couple of sectors have been better for the 77 than for the 9 itself. Look at that. Fibros has made up more gap over there. He's using more of the racetrack than the 77 is. Camera's going to mess up here. Fibros is right on the bumper of the 77. He is going for it. A last charge with a few turns to go. This straightaway, if he can get a run on the straightaway, if he overtakes him, this will be huge. Oh, but he's not closing in. That 77, I think, is a little bit more powerful on the straightaways. Oh, he's on them. He's on the 9. The 9 is on the 77. But rounding the final turn, unless something happens to the 77, this race is over. checkered flag in the air. Nick Mace holds off Vibrosis and wins here at Sebring in a very much needed win for the 77 car. And they held off Vibrosis in an exciting finish. One of the best road course finishes I've ever seen. Great job by both those guys. Eric Byrne, and that's your podium right there. Eric Byrne gets a third.